Hey guys, welcome back to Cards and Comics, and today I have my epic mail day number 11, and today is going to be very comic book focused, but I do have some cards, and I'll start with cards, and if you don't want to see the comics, then you can just stay for this part, but um, it's not as big of an epic card day as well, because last video you saw I had quite a few vintage Hank Aaron and Mickey Mantle cards, so um, not as many. I've been saving up my comics for April and May, so this is literally 2 months worth of comic books. So you see, I don't quite get as many as comics. I'm very selective on my comics because, I just, I'm running out of space a little bit, but I really want to just focus on, the things I really want to collect. So, and I'm not as quite into buying just the variant covers but you'll see in this in this video I do buy a few, so old habits are hard to break. So we'll start with an answer to a trivia question from the last Ionics box opening. Is this Ben Davis card is the exact card I got in that box break that had the hole punched in it, and found out that was actually a redemption, but it was so faded you couldn't read it. So I went on check out my cards, and I bought this card, and now I have both the redemption and the real card, and very cool. I now have both cards. Next up, so keeping with the theme of the Ionics, I do have the Scott Roland autograph, and I definitely want the Jeter. It's on my site. I now have about 5 autos from the set, and I'm looking at putting this whole set together now. So next up is the big card in this set, or the mail day, and here it is. It is the 2018 Mike Trout Sapphire Chrome refractor. So this is, I guess not a, yeah, I guess it's a refractor. They're all refractors from the set, but it's the OG Sapphire set. So this is the first Sapphire Trout, and I looked at it, and I don't see any real major condition issues. If you get the back, I don't get some autofocus. Is it maybe? No. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I don't see any real issues there. So I think it looks good. And so I'm going to probably send this in, and at some point when grading gets back to, well, just back on PSA. And next up is definitely, I bought some cards, and I went through my collection just today actually and pulled a bunch of Tom Brady cards. And so here's a really cool Brady card, and I really like him in his new uniform. I think they're hot. And again, I go to card shows, and this is definitely a card that somebody's probably going to end up grading. It looks nice. The green looks really cool. It's not numbered, but just Brady prisms, colors, are just hot right now. This is, everyone's kind of buying Brady. Brady is kind of the hot guy right now, and I got some inventory, and I got more Brady's coming in, and I've also went through my collection and pulled, all the finest chromes, optics, prisms of Brady I have. Next up is a guy I think people are sleeping on a little bit. Josh Allen. I just think he's going to continue to have a good career. He's beloved in Buffalo, and I just feel like he is going to be a really good player for a long time. And so, all the money's flown into Herbert, maybe Mahomes a little bit too, and Allen's kind of getting the third or fourth hand treatment. So his cards are definitely, I think, good pickups now because they're not breaking the bank compared to some other players. And last but not least is a cautionary tale of when you ship cards through plain white envelopes. This is, again, sticking to the Onyx theme. I really wanted to get the, I guess, reciprocal, or kind of the refractor version, the reciprocal version of the Griffey, because I pulled the base, and so I picked this up, and you can see it's bent and curved. Looks like a modern Magic card, and so I'm gonna have to try to return it. It wasn't an expensive card, but these are tough, and in graded, this probably is a $40 or $50 card if it's a 10, maybe $100 card. So it's not worth nothing if it was in nice shape. So just disappointed because it's for my personal collection of Griffey and I got excited about the cards because of the video, and I just wanted to get the kind of the refractor version, and it showed up bent, so not very cool. So we'll move on to the comic book portion, as this is kind of a shorter mail day for cards. And again, I've got some Brady's coming down the road, but this is, I feel this Trout card is definitely a cool card, and definitely worth grading, and definitely something I've been looking to pick up for my Trout collection. Now, next up is two books that came together, and one of them, I think it's the first appearance of Magic. I'm not sure, but it's Uncanny X-Men number 20, and I'll move out a little bit. There we go, and there you can see the book, and I really like it. Just a cool cover, and it came with the book I was actually looking to buy, which was this book here, which is it is Ghost Rider number 2, which is I think Blackout. Is the first appearance of the new Blackout, maybe a villain coming up in the MCU. So it's a great looking, I like that kind of purplish cover. It looks like a nice book, so having some hot books doesn't hurt if you're going to shows, and I'm definitely looking forward to setting up at some shows locally pretty soon just for comics. There you go. That is two of them, and then I got this lot all together. So this is again me going into the variant world. So it's a set of 3. Spider-Man 234. So it's the first Miles Morales Iron Spider, I believe. I'm not sure that's a huge key, but so here's, I think, the base book. Here's the one I really like, is this version, a variant. Really dig just that, headshot cover. And then here's another variant which shows off kind of the Iron Spider look against Miles. So I think it's a cool, 2 variants. I just bought them because I like Spider-Man, I like Miles. So nothing major going on there. Just I like the books, and I'm a big Spider-Man fan. Next up is another, just I like this series. And I'm also a big Wheel of Time fan, but I'm a big fan of the book Dune, and so this is the new Boom Studios Dune House of Atreides. So this is a Comic Tom variant. I just like the Virgin variant look, and it was cheap. It was like a $50, $40 or $50 book, and I picked it up. You can kind of see the Comic Tom. There you go, Comic Tom Virgin edition. So yeah, nothing big there. Just I thought it was a cool book, and so I grabbed it. Next up is the obligatory Alex Schomburg book, but this is definitely different. And it is Invaders, King Size Annual number 1, and it's from 1977. And the cool thing about it is, come on, you can sort of read it. Come on, guys. My autofocus is just killing me. It is, I guess you can read a little bit. It's an Alex Schomburg cover. So Alex is definitely, I thought this is cool that Marvel asked him to do this cover in the 70s. And basically it's an homage cover, but it's not. And it's basically Alex doing kind of an homage to himself. And I think this is really cool that they did this, especially for the characters that he's known for drawing. And I've been looking for this in a 9.8, and I just couldn't find one. This came up at a good price, and I just went ahead and grabbed it. Eventually I'd like to have it in 9.8 just to have, kind of a really affordable, cool cover of from Schomburg that's not going to break the bank in a 9.8. Probably my only chance of getting one. But I really dig that book. Next up is a pure speculation book. So everything you've seen so far, besides maybe the Ghost Rider, is really kind of a PC, just me collecting to have what I like. And this is definitely a spec play. And so this is Coyote number 11. And a 9.8, and this is the first published work from Todd McFarlane. You can kind of see it written right there. First Todd McFarlane published work. And I think that is, I think there is going to be eventually, these kind of books, like Jim Lee's first work, Jim Lee's first cover, Todd McFarlane's first cover, Frank Miller, Alan Moore's first published work, will eventually be valuable just because it has such cool key creators. And I really think this book is, maybe not undervalued, but it could get hot. And I really think it could be something that people really look for in the future, because right now those creators are what's hot, and it's driving the market today. And I think if you went back to Jim Kirby or those kind of guys, their first covers are obviously from the golden age, so they're crazy expensive. But I think if Todd McFarlane is driving a lot of modern books, his first appearance in a comic book, or his first art, I think is reasonable to speculate on. So, and that goes for the next guy. He's not as famous, even though he's done a lot of great work, but it is his first published artwork. But really, this is just a book because I really like Comico. So I'm a big Comico collector, and this is Chuck Dixon's first work. First comic work by Chuck Dixon, who's done a ton of great work, but it's just like really cool. I love the cover. Evangeline is one of the early Comico books. It's from 1984. And again, it was a cheap pickup. I collect a lot of Comico books, Mage, Grendel, Robotech. Those are just books I really love to have. And because that's when I grew up as a kid. The one thing I didn't mention about that, about this book behind it, is back when you could get, on this Coyote book, back when you could get comic books from Sears, like you could get the 75, 100 books, package deal. I got that for Christmas one year for my parents, and I remember a lot of the books that were in there, but I remember succinctly that this Coyote book was in there, and Amazing Spider-Man 301 was in there too, along with a bunch of crap, Star, Garfield, or Heathcliff books, and I remember there would be Madball books, and I almost remember all the books because I read them so many times, and I just loved them. But that book was in there, and it just kind of, when I saw it for sale, I was like, man, this is like memories, and it's a cool spec play. So next up is another collection that I'm really just starting. In a way that I'm getting more serious about it. So I thought about, my grandmother, and by default I am as well. My grandmother is 7/8 Cherokee, Native American from Oklahoma. So I am Cherokee as well. My mom is virtually half Cherokee, and so I've always loved, or was curious about, the depictions of Native Americans in Golden Age, and so I just started collecting Native Americans appearing on covers in the Golden Age. And this series, Straight Arrow, is a good example. I believe even there's some famous artist who's done some of these covers. And again, these are more cowboy books, so they're not really expensive. But this is actually a really nice cover and a lot of cool action. And now the next book is another Straight Arrow book, but it was something that I kind of lucked into because I was just buying these all from the same dealer. And this is actually a Pedigree book, and I was super shocked because when I opened the container, I got this certificate saying that this is a Lost Valley Collection Pedigree book from CG. That's Pedigree recognized by CGC, Straight Arrow number 7. And if you read top corner, it says Lost Valley, and so it is a Lost Valley Pedigree book, 7.5. Straight Arrow. So not only did I get a cool Native American cover, but I got one that's pedigreed. So really cool book. I'm really happy to get it. And added bonus, I didn't even know when I bought it was pedigreed. And so I've got this handy dandy certificate telling me that I have a cool pedigree book. And that's it. That's the mail day. More comic focus this time, but I hope you enjoyed it. And I will be back with some more content. I've got a few things I'm going to be working on. One of them is I'm going to do more analysis on the 8.5, or just the half grade issue with PSA and kind of going into more modern, looking at more modern and vintage and just seeing, you know, what's going on with half grades. And then I'm also planning on starting a series on my Alex Schomburg collection and kind of showing off and going through some of the more important books I've got and some context around them. So I'm going to start, some Schomburg content as well. So be looking forward to that. And I'll see you guys next time.